And sit up nice and tall on a cushion, so on a blanket or a pillow. Place your hands to face down on your thighs. Thumbs and index fingers come to touch. So this is a grounding mudra. And close your eyes. And close your eyes. Take a long, deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth wide and exhale. Again, breathe in through your nose, rooting down through your sits bones, reaching up through the crown of your head. Keep inhaling and open your mouth wide. Exhale, let out all your air. One more cleansing breath like that. Inhale, pick up any stress, tension, distractions, frustrations. Open your mouth wide. Exhale, let them all go. Just imagine all of that tension pouring out with the exhale. And now pause. Don't bother controlling the breath. It will just do its thing and move through you naturally. Your job here is to still the physical body. So still your physical body. There are always parts of you that will want to shift and move and wiggle. But for this practice, for this yin practice, unless you're feeling pain, like pins and needles or sharp electrical sensations, the invitation is to be still. As you start to train your mind out of reaction. This is our theme, our intention for tonight's practice, non-reaction. So as you sit here in this initial meditation, can you remember or reflect on moments where you react in a big way? And it can be simple things like when you stub your toe. How do you react? Do you scream and cry or just go along as though nothing happened? When you're stuck in traffic, whether you're driving or not, what does that feel like? Can you notice or remember that feeling in your body? And are you the reactive type who screams and curses and honks, sending that vibration of reaction across the highway? Or do you just take a breath? Our children are really, really good places to observe and reflect on our tendencies to react. When you're trying to get them out the door in the morning and they won't take the sunscreen or the clothes, how do you react? And it might not be the same thing every day, but see if you can just feel as you think about these types of experiences and other ones where you know you're hyper reactionary. Notice where you feel it in your physical body. So does it kind of curl in at your tummy? Do you feel this tension in your throat? Take a deep breath in. Exhale completely. And now imagine yourself through those scenarios and then maybe other ones that are more aligned or personalized to you. Imagine yourself not reacting. Instead, just breathing, witnessing, and accepting that this too shall pass, because all of these feelings and experiences and emotions and anger and frustrations, this is all temporary. It comes like a wave. It might feel like the longest lasting wave, but it does dip and ebb and flow and eventually crash against the shore. Your intention throughout this practice is to train your brain not to react, but to take breath. Good. Let's transition directly from our seat into child's pose. So you could place a blanket, a folded blanket under your knees for a little added support. And if you have a stack of pillows, can you set them out in front of your chest? If you'd like, you don't have to. And then bend at your elbows and lower either cheek, maybe your forehead down towards your props. If there's too much compression in your hip joint, so if that hip flexion feels painful or pinching, usually even dull, you would add more pillows out in front, more bolsters. If there's pain in the ankle joints, roll up that blanket at its edge so you have this extra padding under your ankles. And another variation to make this a little more supportive and restorative would be to take a pillow under your bum, above your calves. The idea of this practice is to put your body in shapes that feel safe. So there's no pain, but there's absolutely sensation. And I'll tell you where that sensation typically arrives in the body in this particular shape. It's along the inner groin. So along those inner seams of your pants. These are your adductor muscles. And then along the back line, you might feel a lengthening or stretching, a big deep release, because what you're doing is you're just pulling the erector spinae apart. And as you take deeper and deeper breaths into this shape, you might allow your chest to settle closer towards the mat and begin to feel that you're starting to become undone. Children and babies often sleep in this shape. I mean, their joints aren't anywhere as cranky as ours are, but they often sleep in this shape, or they go into this shape when they're feeling stressed. This is a really great place to come and quiet the mind. Let's do that here for a few more minutes. If you need to pull out, you can always come back to your cross-legged seat. Otherwise, you're just still and breathing. Now might be a nice time to turn and rest on the other cheek. It might be a nice time to relax your jaw or the space between your eyebrows. And usually this far into a shape is a really great time to check in on that idea of non-reaction. So notice if you're clenching or gripping, constantly shifting and moving. And assuming what you're feeling isn't painful, you're not going to hurt yourself, it's just a little uncomfortable. What would it take for you actually just to sink into that discomfort? and to sit with it and be with it. One more minute here. Try that and just see how that feels. Take 3 more breaths wherever you are. 3 more big breaths in through your nose, out through your nose or your mouth. Then walk your hands up, lift your bum up away from your heels, and settle onto all fours, taking a moment here just to stretch one leg and then the other, pulsing that heel back and forth. So maybe you'll feel a little release or pull rather through the back line of your legs. Good. And after a few stretches like that, come back onto all fours. Just bend one knee, your heel comes in towards your bum, and then drop that leg back down. Alternate to the other side. One more time, each side. And now can you tap the tops of your feet onto the floor really quickly, starting to get the blood flowing through your feet, which have really been squished by your bum over the last 5 minutes in child's pose. Relax your feet, drop your tummy down, roll your shoulders back, lift your heart, your chest, and your gaze. That's an inhale. And as you exhale, puff between your shoulder blades, round into your upper back, and let your head hang heavy on the exhale. Cat cow. So this is more yang energy, more mobile. Make it feel really, really good. You're always moving in a way that feels like nobody's watching. Pulsing, lifting, and releasing. Really good. Come back to a neutral spine. Come back to a neutral spine. I'll show you 2 very different variations of the next pose, but they both do the same thing. So option 1 is called Sleeping Swan. You'll take your right knee forward and extend your left leg back. I'll keep the blanket under my knee and my thigh for some nice added support. And if you come here and feel like you're falling from one side to the next, you might tuck a cushion under your hip. Then lower down, either to props or to the floor. You could stack your fists, rest your head on your fists. But the idea, the purpose here is to get a sensation of pull through your outer right hip. That's into your psoas, your IT band, and your psoas actually runs right up alongside your belly, right alongside your belly button on either side. So that's the first variation. And for a lot of bodies and joints, that is the worst place to go. And if your joints aren't happy there and you don't actually get the benefit of the pose, then you may come onto your back and take your right ankle across your left thigh. Either leave that leg there, stack that left foot up on props, or interlace your hands behind your left thigh. Thread the needle and pigeon pose or sleeping swan, same name, or same pose, different name. Do the same work under your skin. So they're both attacking tension through your outer hip and helping you to flush hyaluronic acid to those really dehydrated joints. They're both doing the same thing, but they just look different, and that's good. That's okay. So once you get into the shape that feels good for your body, take a big breath in through your nose. Open your mouth wide and exhale. And now can you simply rest here 2 minutes and practice your meditation on non-reaction. So the moment your mind says that you need to shift or move or do something different or look around or think about something, maybe a deadline, a responsibility, the second that starts to happen, go back to your breath, anchor to your breath. You might even visualize a literal anchor thrown down into your body, catching your breath and starting to move it back through you. Practice of non-reaction gets really tricky when things start to feel more intense, but give it a try. Take a big breath in through your nose, and as you exhale, see if you can soften even deeper into this shape. So notice where you might be gripping or clawing, holding. Perhaps there's a place you can soften. Nice and slow, peel your body away from the floor. If you're in the sleeping swan variation, you'll lean over towards your right side and sweep your left leg forward. Take any movements here. Those of you on your back, unwrap your legs too. Place your feet on the floor, and we could all just rock our knees from side to side, maybe stretch and bend the legs. And one other option, a bit more yang energy, is to turn your fingers to face in, step your feet in towards your buttocks, push through your feet, and lift your pelvis up. Your head could look up or maybe float down. Reverse table. You could stay there for a few breaths or pulse your body up and down. A big counter movement to that previous shape. When you're ready, just go right on into the other side, and you don't have to do the same variation that you did on the right. So if you have tension in your left hip or your left knee, you might thread the needle on the left side. This time it's your left leg that comes forward, or maybe your left ankle that wraps across your right thigh. And take the time to readjust. So if you're really falling to the side, you prop something under that left hip so that these shapes can be sustainable. Because here's the cool part about yin. In addition to putting stress on your connective tissues and rehydrating your joints, you're also, in traditional Chinese medicine, stimulating your nadis or your qi channels of energy in your body. And attached to each of these energy channels is an emotion. This one is anger. Its opposite is contentment. And does pigeon pose mean that if you're angry coming into the class, you'll be content coming out? No, not necessarily. There's therapy and lots of other personal work for that. But it gives us an opportunity to consider the body as more spiritual and connected, and maybe to believe that there are knots or roadblocks along certain energy lines that we could release with mindful, curated movement. And sometimes just believing in that is enough. So take another big breath in and start to marinate here. You have some time. Take 3 more really big full breaths here. Patiently, like you're moving through a big bucket of Winnie the Pooh's honey. Can you start to lift yourself up If you're in sleeping swan, lean to the left, bring your right leg forward, my friends, on your back. Unwrap your legs. Everybody will set their feet onto the floor. And take a few movements here. So self-led movements. Whatever feels good, just close your eyes and listen to your body. You've done lots of flexion in your hips, so it might feel really nice to straighten out the legs with big stretching from side to side. Whatever feels nice here. And when you're ready, come up to a seat right on the edge of your prop. So on the edge of a blanket or a block, stretch out both legs, separating them wide. So as wide as your mat, maybe even wider. Good. Take a deep breath in and reach both arms to the sky. Now, as you exhale, take your left hand back behind you and reach your right hand towards your left foot. Sinking in. Inhale, lift both arms up. Exhale, stretch your left hand to your right foot. Reach your right hand behind you and melt down by any amount. Now just keep trying that. Waving your body side to side and taking charge of this movement. So this is not a yoga pose. There's not a name for this. This is just a movement. You're just moving your body, right? So if there's a certain movement within the movement that feels better for you, do it. That might mean you hold on to the edge of the leg, you pull, you sink, you release deeper. So much of our yoga practice is actually just about learning how to move in our bodies, how to listen to what they need. So one more time, side to side. And when you come back through center this next time, pause there, reach your arms up, take a big breath in, and fold forward, all the way forward. When you get there, creepy crawl your fingers even further forward, let your head hang heavy, and push the floor away. So there's a big puffing in your upper back. Then pull the floor in towards you. And just feel that tiny, tiny mundane shift in sensation. Now let your legs relax. So they were active, now they're relaxed, really floppy in the feet and the legs. You can bend the knees or even tuck little blankets or cushions under your knees if you have tight hamstrings. And could you fold forward, letting the back of your neck, your head, your upper back really slouch down. This is a big, big spinal flexion. And it works the whole back line of connective tissue in your body. When you get there, if it feels good, you might even move. Now this is slow, a little from side to side. And as you do this, you begin to imagine that underneath your skin, there's this incredible network of taffy that you can stretch and shear and separate just with breath and conscious movement. Now, eventually, you'll pause in stillness. And if this hurts your head or neck, you could stack blocks or bolsters to catch your forehead. Otherwise, you're just dangling here for about 2 minutes. If it ever hurts, lie down on your back and we'll come and collect you in 2 minutes' time. One more minute to go. Take a big breath in. Feel that breath press into your back body, and exhale, slump down a little more. Take one more big breath in. Exhale. Walk your hands in towards your body. Slowly, slowly, really slowly lift your body upright. Good. Lean back onto your hands. Stand your feet or press your feet into the floor and lift your hips up. Good. Lower them back down. And now we'll take the legs out of all that flexion with a supported bridge pose. For this shape, you'll want height under your pelvis. So if you have blocks, blocks are better here. You can stack up 2 blocks, but you could absolutely use pillows and blankets. And once you've created a little bit of height, you'll walk your body over it and place your sacrum, which is at the base of your spine, onto the highest point. So you might put a block under here and come down onto your back. Drip your chin into your chest. Your hands can go to your belly or alongside your body, but take a few moments when you arrive just to tune in to how you're feeling. You might move and wiggle. Readjust your height so there's no pinching. That might just mean moving your props further away from your head or bringing them closer. And now close your eyes and let your body really drape over that prop. Take a big breath in here. Now the breath is moving into your collarbones, your chest. The heart and lung energy lines are being awoken in this shape. Your center of love, your center of connection, of communication. You can choose to spend your time in this pose here. But a second variation, a little bit different, is to take more of the fleshy, cushy part of your bum onto your prop castle and extend your legs. What happens here is that pull, that hip extension is going to really get into the front of your pelvis, which can feel nice if you spend a lot of time sitting or cycling, right? Like pushing your knees and your hips in. Find this place either with your feet flat or your legs extended. Close your eyes and see if you can practice non-reaction even when things might feel good. Part of non-reaction is that we don't get really, really angry when frustrating things happen, but we also don't get really, really excited when amazing things happen. And this is the philosophy of contentment, of acceptance. So if it feels good, can you not react to it feeling good? Can you just witness it, accept it, and know that just like more stressful sensations, this too shall pass? Take 5 more breaths here. Gradually bend into your knees if they're fully extended. Imprint your feet into the floor and move your props out to the side. Separate your feet mat distance apart. Now allow your knees to rock from one side to the next. You might open your arms wide to accompany that rocking movement. Good. And the next time your knees fall over towards the right, leave them there, readjust, maybe stack one knee on top of the other. You can even extend the top leg for more work through that IT band. But we're closing down our practice, so we're nearing the end. Allow this to feel more therapeutic and less like a lot of work. Some little bonus tips that you could do here are place a folded blanket on your left hip. Maybe take props between or beneath your right leg. And then turn your gaze somewhere that feels good. Maybe take a big yawn and just savor this feeling. A few moments here, not too long. Even if you feel like you could just fall asleep right there, take the time to pull back through center, reset in neutral, breathe before shifting your hips to the right, dropping your knees to the left, adding props if you wish, and melting your body down. Slowly bring your knees back through center and just check in. Notice how everything's feeling. If there's any little movements you need to make, take them now. And now you have to make a choice between closing your practice in Shavasana, so just lying flat on your back, or closing your practice in legs up the wall. And if you opt for legs up the wall, slide your body up against the wall and take your legs all the way up. Lean them against a wall. Let them separate as much as they'd like. They can also stay close together. So take a few moments, just choose the place where you'd like to close your practice. You have about 5 minutes here. And if you don't have a wall, but you have a big couch or a chair, you could lie against that piece of furniture and take your legs up onto that piece of furniture. Really just choosing a shape that enables you to drop down, to drop in. Good. Wherever you decide to go, close your eyes, take a big breath in, and melt down into a well-deserved rest. Tonight, I'll leave you here in Shavasana or legs up the wall to enjoy and rest and restore as long as you'd like. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste.